It has been a rough couple of weeks for Bitcoin ever since its all-time high back in March of 2024. We've seen it come all the way down here to now 56,500. It just passed through the support level that we outlined previously here at 60K and then continued to fall. We saw it bounced here at 56,500. And now everyone is thinking, what is going on with Bitcoin and what's the next step for Bitcoin? And in this video, I'm going to go ahead and highlight my thoughts on the market, what I think is going to wind up happening. I want to talk about the reason why Bitcoin is falling and also some positive news as well, because I don't want to just make this entire video negative, because the truth, the reality is oftentimes not black nor white, but more gray. And so I want to go ahead and start off by saying that Bitcoin right now is in a position that we haven't seen in some time. The last time Bitcoin was even in about 57,000 or so was about February, so a few months ago. And in fact, the selling has been so strong when it comes to Bitcoin that if we take a look at the RSI, the daily RSI, we have at about a 32, which the last time we saw this level of selling and pessimism in Bitcoin was all the way back in about August of last year. So we're at kind of August levels. I would say not necessarily like a Bitcoin depression, but we've definitely hit levels of fear. And in fact, if you take a look at the fear and greed index, we're sitting at about 46 right now. I actually think that it's probably a little bit lower than that, but this is the standard. This is the standard chart that I use to for the fear and greed index. So I'm going to go ahead and take that into consideration here. So we're right about 46, and we've actually seen, however, in the past couple of hours, we zoom in here, we can actually see that there has been a little bit of a bounce here off that low and off the support here at about 56,500. Now we had the FOMC today, and the Fed basically decided to hold rates at their 23-year high. That's not a big surprise. That was kind of that was the expectation that they wouldn't raise or lower rates. So Bitcoin has kind of bounced a little bit off of that news and the fact that the Fed isn't raising rates higher than everybody expected. Now let's talk about the primary reason why Bitcoin has been falling so much in the past couple of weeks. It is the Bitcoin spot ETFs. And if we take a look at our Bitcoin spot ETFs, the net flow from sosovalue.xyz, we can see that as of April 30th, we had a large outflow of $161 million out of Bitcoin spot ETFs. And again, I've talked about this multiple times, but the biggest outflows that we've seen so far have been from GBTC. Now, again, if you take a look at this, we see here that on the 30th of April, they had about $17 billion total of outflows. Okay, so this is the cumulative. Now, if we took it the one day, they had about $93 million worth of outflows. So the simple fact is that Grayscale is bleeding right now. There are many investors who are selling their Grayscale shares, and either they're going to other ETFs or they're just staying away from crypto in general. Now, I also want to go ahead and take a look at all of the spot ETFs, and they have a total net inflow chart right here. And as you can see, since the peak here at about early March, it's been pretty negative. We've seen it kind of waffle back and forth here, and then as soon as we hit to about April or so, now we start to see some significant net outflows from Bitcoin spot ETFs. So that's the reason why the Bitcoin price has been coming down so much. And in fact, I've actually seen that the total net assets has actually gone down here from about 51 billion or so down to where it is right now at about $49 billion. So we've seen significant selling when it comes to Bitcoin spot ETFs, and then when investors sell those, the managing authority has to go and then sell Bitcoin in response. Now, if we take a look at what's going on with our Bitcoin liquidations, we can also see here that the 24 hours in the last 24 hours, longs have been absolutely destroyed. We've seen $120 million worth of longs get destroyed in the last 24 hours for Bitcoin specifically. But if we go ahead and take a look at crypto, we can see that total crypto is about $205 million worth of longs got liquidated. and in Bitcoin's massive move downwards here from 63K to where it is right now at about 56, 57,000. And in fact, if we take a look at the heat map, we can see how this actually visually how this looks, and we actually see that this at about the 30th or so of April, about 61,300. There was about $500 million worth of longs right here, and they all got liquidated. And now we've cleared a significant amount of the longs that have placed their bets so far. So we really have started to see kind of a deleveraging of Bitcoin, and I've always think that having a deleveraging of Bitcoin is always a positive thing because you have less gamblers and less traders out there who are trying to who will be leveraged either way to either push the price down or push the price up, and instead we get stability while these folks actually get while they get liquidated. So I think it's actually a good development for Bitcoin. I do think that this is normal for Bitcoin, what we've seen over the past couple of weeks. This is normal Bitcoin price action. If we zoom out here, we actually take a look at the weekly. Bitcoin is still up very nicely from the lows all the way back in November. So, I mean, you kind of expect that it's not going to go up in a straight line. In fact, there's going to be some points at which it goes up and then it goes sideways for a bit, or it comes down again and then it resumes the pattern upwards. This is a normal part of Bitcoin. In fact, this is a very healthy part of Bitcoin. Now, I want to talk about what my plans are going to be for Bitcoin. And simply put, I've said before that I'm looking at Bitcoin below 60K. Now, ideally, I would like to have Bitcoin go a little bit lower. I like to be really conservative with my buys, but I'd be looking at if it actually comes down here below 56, and especially if it comes down to 52,000, that's where I would really like to get in some more Bitcoin buys personally. There's a strong level of support here at 52K. If we actually do come all the way down here, I'd be one of those dip buyers. I think if that actually happens, though, it's only going to be for maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. So it's going to be really difficult to try to catch that. But I'll be on the lookout for when Bitcoin actually does, if it does go that low. But there is a possibility that Bitcoin will come back down here and retest that 52K region of support. Okay, and that's the area in which I would definitely be interested in adding to my Bitcoin stack. All right. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the Bitcoin monthly returns. So Bitcoin monthly returns for April have not been good. We had about minus 14%. May so far, and we're only one day into May, but it's down 6% so far for May. Now, remember that this is seasonally speaking, May is a very challenging month for Bitcoin. June is a little bit better for Bitcoin, but it's still not great. But it's when you start to get into July that you actually start to see some nice gains on the average and the median, almost 10% there. And especially once you get past August and September and you go straight to October, that is the next big month for Bitcoin, in which Bitcoin usually posts the largest gains. So just be aware of this. During the summer months, Bitcoin seasonally is normally a little weak. Apart from July, for some reason, July seems to be a strong month for Bitcoin. Just be aware of Bitcoin's seasonal patterns. Now, the last thing, the last bit of news of Bitcoin related news that I want to talk about is going to be the Bitcoin spot ETFs trading in Asia right now on the Hong Kong exchange. This is huge. They debuted about a couple days ago now, and I think this is actually going to be good information, good news for people who are bullish about Bitcoin, because now you have customers in Hong Kong that have the ability to go and buy Bitcoin through the spot ETFs. They also have an Ether ETF as well, so they're pushing forwards. And like I said, this is the very first spot ETFs that we've seen in Asia, and I think that it's much more likely that we will see multiple spot ETFs coming in, the approval for the other countries in Asia. Again, very bullish. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the Bitcoin options. The Bitcoin options, the largest day of Bitcoin options expiry is going to be the 31st of May. And you can see here that the amount, mostly calls in this case, 1.6 billion, and puts about 1 billion or so. Now we see the max pain price, so that's taking the calls and the puts together. You have the max pain price of 63,000 by the end of the month. So that's, according to max pain theory, that is where you're most likely to see the Bitcoin price by the end of the month. Now, you also have a ton of bulls, in fact, longs betting on $80,000 Bitcoin by the end of the month. We'll have to see if that plays out or not, but it's a significant amount. It's about $170 million worth of these call options that's going to expire at a strike price of $80,000. All right. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you think that this is going to be the start of an even larger route for Bitcoin, or if you're interested in buying the dip, leave a comment below. I'm definitely interested in hearing about that. And be sure to follow me on X and Threads. I post every single day or nearly every day about the Bitcoin chart TA and my expectations for that day. And be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys, and I will catch you in the next video.